morning. Museum. Oh.
So you can see he changed the shape pretty easily by heating it and swinging it around. We're going to get ready to add some glass to the bottom to create a nice stem. So I just bring it over, he attaches it. This technique is called casting off because he pulls it away and it pulls so thin it separates it. But you can see if you stop turning the iron, gravity pulls the glass towards the floor. Now when you pull it that thin, the glass cools so quickly I can already grab it. Oh, I don't want to grab that part. It's still really hot. But when you pull it that thin, it cools so quickly you can actually grab it. Making sure that the bowl itself stays hot enough. If it falls below 1,000 degrees, it can crack and break. So the whole time that he's working on it, he's keeping it above 1,000 degrees. So we get it in a 50-pound bag. It's already been melted once, so it's called cullet. We just throw that cullet in the furnace and it melts right there. You can see he changed the shape pretty easily by heating it and swinging it around. We're going to get ready to add some glass to the bottom to create a nice stem. Now at this point, he puts the piece all the way inside the furnace. We call it flashing the piece. He's making sure that the bowl itself stays hot enough. If it falls below 1,000 degrees, it can crack and break. So the whole time that he's working on it, he's keeping it above 1,000 degrees. Boards together, and you can see it squeezes it out to a nice thin disc. The tricky part is if you squeeze too hard, it folds it up. If you don't squeeze hard enough, it doesn't fill the mold out, and you don't end up with a nice round foot. He uses this torch, we call that the fluffy torch, to heat the top of the piece, make sure it doesn't get too cold. When it doesn't get too cold, it can crack and break. So this is the part of the process where beginners have a hard time. If you don't bring over the punty hot enough, you go to break it off, the piece will fall on the floor. It's going to put a little drop of water on the jack line, slight little tap, breaks off very easily. And now we're going to go back to the reheating furnace. Are there any questions? That connection, and he'll open it up a little bit more. And he's going to heat this one more time. This will be the last heat of the piece. Again, he flashes the punty, and then he'll come back and focus the heat right on the top. And as he gets it really hot, he'll spin a bit faster. You don't see this open right up. Now usually at the top you get a nice fluted edge because of that optic mold, that scalloped lip comes from that optic mold. So just like that, he opens it all the way up. We're going to put a little drop of water on that connection and a slight little tap, and the vibration is going to break it off onto these forks. Once we break it free, we're going to put it into an oven called the annealer to slowly cool it down overnight. It takes about 12 hours to cool a piece this size down. If we just left it sitting out in the air, it would crack and break apart. How about a big round of applause for Michael? Nice job.
Okay. Really bright. What's that? I can't get it focused. Okay. It is. All right, let's go.
No flash, no selfie sticks. Don't touch the apple.
Man, look how white it is in here. Whoa. Look at this. Almost blinding. And Gardner made that. Man, it's almost blinding. It's so white in here. And look at this light fixture. That is something.
Not sure if it's glass or what it's made of. Yeah. Lunch, anyone? Yep, that's an interesting one.
Here looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
And like fruit.
Goodness. Look at this guy.
And this little animal. Here's your fruit baby.
Yeah. Plate of fruit. Looks like he's up to something.
Still like for 2 months.
Get himself in trouble here. Reaching over or something.
What I don't get is
I don't get it. I'm left brain though, so I don't get most art. Alright. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, look at the chandeliers blinking.
Let's see this coming.
Yeah.
That's a pretty light fixture. You put one of those in the motorhome, babe.
Yeah. Now, that looks a little bit dangerous. Can't imagine having that in my house. Child one.
This is classic art. That's wow, baby.
Alright. And this one is How Not to Die of Lies. I still don't get it. Hanging art. It's pretty though.
Well, and then
Should have been one.
birthday cake down here.
Let me zero in. You can barely see the knives
Yeah.
because of the white walls.
Yeah.
And what's below it? Little
It's
houses.
raining knives.
It's raining
The
knives.
Italian, he made, I think he made $8.9 million for that.
That looks like Chihuly.
Going into an optical mold right now, and she has all those lovely ridges appear on the glass magically. So the inside of the mold looks something like this, and it creates intentional thick and thin points in our glass. Now it's just a textural mold. She can make anything she wants from this point forward. She could twist them up if she wants. She could really do anything, but she just went into that mold, inflated a little bit to make sure all of that air went into those ridges to create the thick and thin points. And eventually we will be left with these lines behind. A lot of the stuff you see at the front of the stage was made with the same mold, so it's a very diverse tool that we can use. And she's using gravity to her advantage, so keeping a constant rotation and just letting the glass kind of fall downwards to elongate the form naturally. Now with the correct heating, this is kind of easy. And she goes right in with a pair of jacks to create a constriction between the blown form and the blowpipe. So this is the only way that we will be able to get this piece free later on. And she's inflating with that pressurized air foot pedal system, so it might look like it's just magically inflating. It's not. She's just using that system to her advantage. It's really become useful. There's some things that are nice to not use it for, but it's also great to have it there as a tool. So she goes in and makes that constriction a little bit tighter in diameter. We're trying to control how the glass breaks by doing this constriction. If we did not put this into place, we would not be able to get this piece off of the blowpipe. Has anyone broken glass here before? Yeah, a couple you have. So I definitely have broken a lot of glass. It does not like to go in a very concise heats, and she'll try to keep this form above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. 1,000 degrees is cold for us here in the glass studio. That's the point in time where it is rigid, stiff, and not moving, and also could break. So it's always trying to keep it at a workable time in temperature or above that heat when it's in this kind of environment. Now she's using what we call a hot torch. So this hot torch runs on natural gas and oxygen, and its hottest point can be 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now there is a specific style of glass blowing called Flameworking that just uses a torch that's bench mounted and uses a different kind of glass, and that's just next door in our windows gallery if you're curious to see that kind of glass blowing as well. So she used a dry periwood paddle just to flatten the bottom of this form. Work as this punny and everything else has to be hot enough, but that constriction also has to be cold enough to break. So sometimes the piece will break at this point, sometimes we'll lose it all together. It will drop off the punty and off the blowpipe. But Helen is kind of an expert at this, so it should go very smoothly. All right, with a cold tool and a light tap, this will come free. And there you have it. It's very important to not do everything too quickly, and the glass can kind of get out of control, so you have to have the right timing for everything. So I'm just going to wait for a minute, and then I'm going to start to marble this into a cylinder to make it easy for Helen to attach this to the form. Alright, I'm just going to reheat this over here in this secondary furnace just before I bring it over to Helen so that everything is hot enough to stick together and she has enough time to do the final moves. All right, she'll stick it on, stretch it out, and then she'll cut into it, stretch one last time, and then do her final cut, and then immediately flip over so it does not tag back on itself before it's ready. And then she'll pull, stretch it, and then actually just do the initial final tag back to create that handle. Now she needs enough time to do all of these shaping moves, so that's why it's very important to have the glass be hot enough. But this is kind of the end of our form. Helen will do one last flash to bring that whole body of the piece back up to that cooling cycle. If we left it out in front of you, it would be broken within minutes. It can't handle that drastic temperature drop that quickly. All right, so a little bit of water. And then there you have it. All right, final round of applause for Helen.
The glare is kind of bad, but
See better in front.
maybe.
All right, welcome everybody. How we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, all right. We'll get started here for a little quick demo here. So, if you haven't seen Flameworking, it's a different style of glass making, if you call it. What we're doing here is taking these room temperature rods and then using this torch to get that glass nice and hot. I don't have a tank full of glass. It's at that high temperature. You scoop it right out. But in this case, yeah, I'm just using this torch. So it's turned up all the way, and it's running at 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it gets the temperature right into the glass pretty quickly, and I can start to shape it up after that. So right now, this is kind of like my paintbrush. This is my palette. I'm just putting color over it. I'm going to encase this whole thing in clear. I'm just prepping this up. And the color I have is, it's like a forest green. And this is going to be for some seaweed, because I'm working on a little project here. I have some other prep of coral in there, and this seaweed's going to go with the coral. So I've just been piecing it all together as I go on today. It's been pretty fun. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to make sure everything's melted in, and then I'm going to create this into a ball, and I'm going to squish it, and I'm going to stretch it out. A lot of things going on. A lot of fun things. So yeah, Flameworking. The different style, you can really get those intricate, fine detail work done. I can work any scale, but I can work really, really small. You can kind of look around the room or even around the museum. A lot of things you might see that they're done by Flameworking or lamp working. Sometimes they call it that as well. It's the same thing. And yeah, we can use this torch and we can work really tiny. This torch is at full blast, but I can turn it down to a really tiny needle flame depending on what I'm doing. But since this is like a thicker diameter of rod here, I need a lot of heat to get everything melted in. Texture on the outside, I don't know if you can see that, but they're really good for, I think for seaweed or leaves, feathers, things like that. Gives a nice texture look all the way through, especially when you stretch it out. It has like those optic lines running all the way through it. So I'm gonna get this super hot. I'm just making sure everything is even temperature. Get it nice and round. It's kind of like when I'm making a marble, this is how the process goes. Barely using any tools at all, just when that glass is super hot, all it wants to do is ball itself up. And it just looks orange right now because of that high temperature. When it cools down, you'll see that true green, just like that rod. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and squish this down. Just get it in there, give it a nice little squeeze. Just like so. Kind of looks like a seashell now. So now I'm just gonna get a little bit of heat and start to stretch this out. So I gotta be careful of putting too much temperature. I can melt away that texture. Too much heat. Really stretch this out. Then once I'm happy with it, then I can give it kind of like a little push and turn. And then when it cools down, it's going to stay in that position right there. I'm happy with that. I don't know about you guys. That went pretty well. So now I can detach this. I can get to a little finer point here. So yeah, when it's encased in clear, it kind of thins out the color. It's not so dense. It gives it more of a transparency look. Or you can use the whole color rod. It'll be a lot more denser, but I like the clear look of it. So I'm gonna take this off of here. I'm happy with it. So I'm just gonna grab it with my tweezers here, finish it off. I'm gonna do another one, pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna do a different shape.
Look. Oh.
You got me?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'm like, what is this?
It's got us upside down.
Yeah. That's weird.
It's 3D almost.
It is. It's weird.
How do you walk through it? Are we walking through it?
Go, I don't know. Here. I don't want to walk into it. Where are you?
I'm reaching 40.
Oh. What is this?
Do you see me?
Yeah,
There
now
I
I
am.
see you.
Oh,
You disappeared now, though. Move up and see what happens.
can't see
No, I
you.
don't see you anymore. Yep, now I see you again. But no, now you're gone again. Oh, there. That is weird.
Start here.
Put your hand out. Can you touch whatever is up there? I mean, is there something?
Well, you can get back here. You can see it better, probably. See?
Oh, yeah.
5 feet start here. 4 feet start here.
Okay, go ahead and walk forward now. Yeah. Now I can see you. Creepy. Do it again. Ooh, it's like Jack Nicholson. Find the Corning Fire Station, the Rockwell Museum of Western Art, and Little Joe Tower. Oops, sorry. Oh, you're filming it. Yeah. Bottling up all that root beer and Coca-Cola. There's all the corral. There's either 60s or 70s. There's another one. I'm not sure what this, oh, too blurry. That hideous one is. And then it starts getting more contemporary. Hey, that's what we have in the motorhome, I think. Let me look. That looks like something that you would like, huh?
India.
The King's Throne.
Indian palaces.
Man, glass legs. Can you imagine?
The chair was made around 1860 in England.
Really?
That's what it says.
Wow.
Ruby chandelier, where's that? Is that a chandelier there?
No, there's one right here.
Oh, in the back, I wasn't even seeing that one. It's just like the stuff you gave away, babe, when we downsized.
Right.
You said it was no good. You could.
Origins of glass making. 2000 BC. See where they say it came from. Europe.
Before Christ. Look at that. I wonder if they'd sell this stuff to us, babe. Putting their motorhome on exhibit.
Yeah. No thanks. I don't want trinkets.
These are not trinkets.
Whatever.
This is history.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe it's that old.
$1350 BC. Oops.
Well, I think we should see if they'll sell me number 6, babe. That would look nice around your neck. That's only 1400 BC.
Yeah.
You could put that on and nobody even know how old it was.
No.
Because your youthful presence would radiate. And they'd be distracted. They wouldn't know it was 1500 BC. That was 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. You say 12 to 1400 BC, and now we're at 2000 or what it is, 2022 after. So
Just unbelievable how old this stuff is. I want to know how they know.
it's amazing they could have a fire that hot back then to melt glass
Right.
or make glass from sand.
Look at all these old things. I don't mean
talk
you.
about me.
I don't mean
Old
you.
things. This film is after Catherine's zoom camera quit. Look at all this. And all the sparkling glass in the man's coat.
These tiny little shoes. Little feet.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Amazing.
People find these old things and
This is really spectacular in here. I think this museum was the best part of the whole exhibit. Contemporary. You like that? You don't like the bug, the roach? Man. Yeah. That's fancy.
The orange is inside the clear, you know.
Yeah.
It's from North Carolina.
That's where all great artists originated from. Well, that in the low country of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Started by making clay pots. A Chihuly?
His music was cool.
Man, just goes on and on.
The puppet that goes, I kill you.
Yeah. This is a pretty glass works in here.
Yeah, it's neat. Shirts and
Yeah, when they're making this stuff.
shirts, cherries, and snowflakes, of course.
I guess that's. We'll go see if we can find a cafe somewhere. I wonder how much they want for the Chevrolet. They'd have to remove this sign off the side, though, if I was to buy it. Nice old truck. 3100. And that was a heavy duty truck.
Careful behind you.
You'd be buying some stuff, eh?
Yeah, you'd be buying some stuff.
I'm telling you, they shouldn't put that truck in here to distract me.
Look at this with the seabirds on it.
That's only $50. I don't know. We'll take a quick tour through the store to find the cafe. Okay. Sale price on a lot of this stuff.
Don't touch anything.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to break anything. Those are good.
Yeah.
You don't need glass in a motorhome.
No, it doesn't hold up too good, does it?
No.
Look at all this stuff. Yeah.
Cool, the guitar.
Yeah. Cafe Inner. Hey, we made it through. I wonder if they serve us on glass. Or we got paper plates. Huh? Which way? Anyway, okay. I'm not going through the maze. I'm going to follow you. Yeah, we're going to look at the menu first. Hey, barbecue ribs.
Ribs, cauliflower fritter, burgers.
French fries. Cheeseburger. Okay. Looks good enough to me. Might have a Korean rib.